So today, everybody, we are taking a look at the Transformers 1 version of Thundercracker. And I gotta say, for a little deluxe guy, he's actually not that bad. As we can see here, he does have some very Cybertronian styling. I do love the molded in little blasters on the wings. Of course, you have the cockpit there. I do love the undermounted guns. That is pretty awesome. And the fact that they just kind of cleanly line up with everything else, it works out pretty well. Now, obviously, the most glaring thing on the underside is that of the robot mode arms, but from most angles, they are pretty much concealed. Now, one thing you will notice about this is that maybe in the back center portion, it kind of seems like it's missing something. However, when we look at the top, that is a 5mm port. So you can literally plug any compatible weapon in there. If you wanted a null ray, for instance, and you feel like it fills it out a little bit, well, then there you have it. Now, in terms of comparison, here you can see how he actually stacks up against Skywarp. And with Skywarp obviously being a Voyager, it's a really unfair comparison to our boy Thundercracker over here. And here's our guy looking pretty studly. One thing that I do love is that they've given him the permanently angled feet, which means whenever he's standing like this, it's hardly noticeable, but he does look better at a wider stance. Now, the other thing I'm totally digging is the fact that he has a Swindle-esque visor, and considering this is Thundercracker of all people, that gives him a unique look. Of course, you have the traditional little bit jet canopy right here. Love that. The other familiar aspect is these little bits right here that rise above the shoulders. One thing that is different is the cannons on the arms. You notice that they are notoriously shorter. However, one thing I do love is the fact that his head sits so far forward, he can literally do the side shooting pose, or if you just want him to go a little bit more traditional, it works that way as well, although it cannot rotate upward as it can over here, just due to the way the shoulders are constructed. Now, something else you will notice different from a traditional Thundercracker is the fact that the wings are downward swept as opposed to being swept upward like a traditional dude. Plus, the other thing that I totally dig is like the animation accurate skinny legs. The fact that this guy has that, which seems to be a trick that modern Seekers have only recently started to implement. And I think it looks good on both these guys. Plus, here you can obviously see a size comparison with that dude right there. However, if you did want a little bit of a size comparison with the basic, here you can see the 3 tiers. Although basic is not really something we get anymore, it does help you appreciate how much of a size he does have as a deluxe.